Tom, I would like to talk to you about a concept you spoke about in one of your workshops. And that's the concept of outpouring of caring and love. Now, we've talked about and done healing exercises, and we know a lot of talented healers. I've studied some modalities myself, and I've seen the results of that. But I think an even more interesting thing is this concept of outpouring. You've always mentioned how we are connected. And in cases of assisting someone in a difficult situation for a healing problem, the healing is one aspect of it, but the outpouring of caring and love seems to be a very unique concept from you that has even almost like a group effect. It is more of it is another aspect of healing that is maybe even more powerful. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We interact with each other in many ways. Our thoughts interact with the people we're thinking about. Their thoughts interact with us. Unless we've turned that particular link off and refusing that data, these thoughts, we're trading thoughts in the non-physical all the time. This is not body language. This is consciousness to consciousness. We're on a network, and it's all netted. And let's say there's somebody who's a friend of yours, or maybe they're a brother or sister or parent or a dear friend from a long time ago, or just the neighbor next door. But it's people that are current in your life, and you think about them sometimes. Oh, something you'd like to tell them. Some empathy you feel for them because of a problem they're having. Some feeling of some sort that you have. So that image comes up of that person, or you think of that person, and you have that feeling, you have that thought. They get that. They don't necessarily get it at their conscious aware level, at their intellectual level, but they get it just the same, and it affects them. So we know that if you are around people who are real negative, particularly if they're negative with you, because they're actually aiming this at you, they're negative with you. Either they don't like you, or they think you're doing the wrong thing, and then it goes on and on about all sorts of things that just aren't helpful. Well, being around those people is just a real drag. It drags you down. When you leave, you feel awful, you just don't feel about anything. Well, that's because all that negativity that's pushed at you, you take on. If you're connected with that person, and if you allow it, you can turn it off, but you have to know how. You have to have a little bit of discipline with your consciousness to do that. But most people don't. Most people are just open to the people that they associate with and whatever. So there is this communication going on. Now, when you heal somebody, in the way you're talking of healing, that's something a little different. Now you go to that person, you mentally target that person, that's the one you're thinking about. You have a very specific purpose to say, diagnose what the trouble is. You see a black spot that you've defined as the trouble, and now you're going to heal it. So then you use your tools, whatever it is, whether you shine light on it or cut it out or whatever you do. Those are just tools to help you focus your intent on changing the future probability of that illness. Is really what you're doing. All the tools are not really what's going on. It's not the light, it's not the cutting it out, it's not any of that. It's not even the black spot. All of those are metaphors. The actual active ingredient is your intent focused on modifying future probability of that illness. And the future probability being there is no illness, of healing that illness. So that's what you're doing, and you're very specific in how you're doing it. Specific person, specific illness, specific tools and methodologies, and that has of good effect, because you're taking all of your energy and applying it to a very specific point, specific thing. But there's another way to heal people too. And it's also healing, but not in such a specific way. If you're just a loving, caring people and you send out really good, caring, happy, loving thoughts to people, they get that. It's just like the bad thoughts, just like the negative thoughts. The positive thoughts make people feel better. And when you leave the company of somebody who really has a lot of positive thoughts about you, you feel good. You feel up. You feel strong. You feel confident. You feel happy. Physically, you're better. Instead of dragging with your head hanging down, you're up straight and you got a bounce in your step. It makes all the difference in the world just with that energy, dealing with that. Okay? So now we have the situation where, let's say there's an individual, and that individual, their sad, unfortunate story has been publicized, and there's 10,000 people sending healing thoughts. Oh, that poor child. Oh, I just can imagine the trauma, what that child went through. And you have thousands of people who feel that way, who are really empathetic. They're not just intellectually thinking, oh, that's too bad. They really, at an emotional level, at a being level, they really are concerned and caring for that individual. That individual gets all that. And if they get it from 1,000 people or 10,000 people, that can be pretty powerful healing. All it is love. They're just getting love for people who love them, who care about them. And that can heal a lot. That generally is not so powerful in like healing that black spot, but it's even more power in healing that attitude, in healing that sense of your life. Instead of being downtrodden or depressed or at the bottom of the barrel and don't know what to do, suddenly you feel hopeful, you feel positive. Not that any of your problem went away, but the way you're looking at it now is different. You feel so much better. So that kind of general giving people love and caring does make a difference. It heals their feelings, it heals their attitude, it heals their perspective. It gives them hope. It gives them confidence. It gives them acceptance. So it's a very powerful thing. And that healing their attitude, healing the way they look at the world, sometimes is the biggest part of the problem. If you can fix that, the rest of the problems all unwind and unravel and go away on their own, often. Okay, so it's just a different approach. One is a very general application, just giving somebody love. And sometimes if somebody's ill, you can just say, well, I don't know whether that illness might be part of their path. That illness may be part of their learning. I don't quite feel right about trying to take that illness away, but I know they're in a rough place, and I know that life is difficult for them now, so I'm just going to give them love. I'm just going to give them caring. And you can give them that and let them do with it as they will. So it's like you're giving them, quote, another metaphor, energy, and they get to use the energy however they like. They can use it to heal their illness, or they can use it to mend their attitude, or they can use it just to feel better, or whatever. So now you have that intent, you see. Well, the energy is a metaphor, but it's a good metaphor that works because you are giving them something that enables them to do something. And anything that enables somebody to do something, we call that energy. So we are in a way, but it's not energy in the way we think. It's not this little cloud of energy that goes over and lives in their body. You know, that's the way we visualize it because we're physically focused here. We believe in physical process, but it's the information metaphor, or it's the information reality behind the energy metaphor that you're doing. So most often, I shouldn't say most often, a lot of times, the biggest problem with people is their attitude, is their feeling. And often just sending love and caring is better at healing that than if you try to go in and change all the endorphin molecules in their system to secrete more, or, oh, I'll give them some extra oxytocin to make them feel better. Well, that's kind of a very specific biological thing that you're doing, and you can do that, but that's probably not going to be as effective as just saying, I love you, I wish you well. I have empathy for you, I understand you're having a hard time, and here's just a little pick-me-up, a little feel better. It's really not so bad. Things will work out. I'm here for you, or whatever your feeling is. That's powerful medicine too.
I love that explanation. Thank you.